Let's get ready to throw down.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you guys have opinions on this, right? How much of selling is like the nuance of figuring it out and making it fit for yourself, and how much of it is the methodology that you follow, whether it's, Spin or Sandler or Herman Miller or, Carnegie or John Maxwell or any one of these other like methodologies that are super well known and developed. What do you think the percentage is? Like do you think it's like 50-50? Do you think it's 70-30?
No, I don't. So here's what I would say. If you dropped a golf ball on the ground and I handed you a 9-iron, at some point everybody would hit the golf ball in completely different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could take 1,000 golf instructions, right, to get us there. Some guys are going to excel with that golf instruction. Some people just don't have the natural ability, and some people don't have the want to be there, right? So even though the instructors taught Tiger Woods and Bubba Watson and all these guys, and he's world renowned, doesn't make it right for the person that you're teaching today, right? So I think it's a combination. I think it floats from 99% to 0% on how much training you actually use, but it's all you. It's all personally based. I look at it myself as a complete guideline book. These are some cool things. I like that. I don't like that. I would never do that, but I'd love to do that. I need to change this by using that. It's a huge all across the board for me. And nobody's perfect, right? And nobody's right. Just like your investment strategy guy, Doc, that if you're so good at this, why are you teaching this class? I mean, that's a question in my head. It's a valid question. Some people love to teach. That's your passion in life. But some people failed, but they knew enough to talk in front of people, or they're comfortable doing it. So that's their new career path, right? So,
right.
I mean, there's so many different things, and I think you got to filter out all the stuff and make it your own. A guy told me one time, was like, Clint, I could teach you 50 ways that I do it, but I know that you're going to take about 3 things of what I say, but you're going to be better for it because you're just going to learn off what I did and my mistakes.
Tony Robbins says that, he did a lot of, seminars and things like that in the very beginning. And one of the key points he said is, I was really just looking for one nugget out of everything that I tried to do, so that I could put it in my bag and it really sort of fit me, what I was doing and how I was doing things already. And I think that's where we sometimes we disrupt our own success way too much, thinking that we just found the golden nugget. Well, your bag should be full of golden nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things that you use, things that people have said to you that work for them, that kind of fit who you are, right? And there's where as time goes by, right? As time goes by, in a decade, you should be better than you were 10 years prior. Mm-hmm. And I go back to this. If you should be good in 5 years and great in 10, because it takes time. And if you're not good in 5, don't think you're going to get any better over the next 5 years. You're just walking a path, and it's going to become a rut over time if you're not careful.
And I'll give you a good example of something that I've learned in the last 5 years that I've completely changed as I use it is DISC. We talk about it on here all the time, personality, right? In the beginning, I learned about it, and it was an aha moment for me, and I wanted to learn as much as I could about it, and I went after it. And then I started telling people that I knew what they were thinking, right, or how they were doing it, because it was so exciting for me. And now, years later of using it every day, now I use it silently, and it's the best tool that I have in my toolbox, right? I don't tell them that, oh, you're reacting this way because you're a D. I don't even mention the words anymore. I use it internally to filter how I do things. But that's a huge graduation from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago when I first heard about it, right? And so sales training to me, and what you pick and choose out of books, articles, is the same thing, right? You're developing that pattern to silently use it down the road.
I think it's really important to know basically what everyone has stated is that you need to know yourself first, have confidence in yourself, and then you need to know your audience, and that's what I feel like DISC is all about. But if you don't know who you are and you don't know who your audience is, you're not going to be successful.
But more importantly, when you start analyzing DISC, you learn how your personality interacts with all
Yeah.
four, you know, the three other squares that I don't live in, right?
Yep.
And how I approach, you know, John versus Clint versus Nan, every one of those I have an Achilles heel with each one of those, right? That can hamstring me if I'm not self-aware to stay out of the pitfalls of being an I and going too long. You know, all the pitfalls that I's have. Own that. Don't try to change it. It's just who you are.
Sure.
But learn to shut up. Learn to let them talk. That kind of stuff.
Like when we were